Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Hello and welcome to Missing the Point. I am Rayshawn Buchanan, joined with my guys, the basketball crew, the real BK Bob Kelly, and Money Mike Marcangelo. Fellas, how we doing? Tie series, baby. Woo, let's go.
Yeah, man.
Let's go, man. Amazing.
I'm fucking great. Like you said, tie series, and not only that, but the resiliency that this team showed to tie up this series, and just absolutely, it wasn't even a game, beginning to end. Like 3 minutes into that game, you knew what Celtics were showing up. So, I mean, I couldn't have been happier with the performance, man. It was amazing.
This will probably be a surprise to you all. I'm a little uneasy after game 2. Like, it was that was the best opening 24 minutes of an answer and a response I've ever seen out of the recent incarnation of the Celtics. But that third quarter scared the ever-loving shit out of me. And so did the fourth. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I'm happy the series is tied 1-1. If it was 0-2, it would be over, in my opinion. And now I still think that the Celtics in 6 is it's my prediction that I said. I'm standing by it, but there are some kinks in the armor.
Yeah, let's just stay there, right? So obviously, we led off with that. Obviously, Celtics won 109-86 on Tuesday night. They had lost game 1, 101-89 on Sunday. So, Bobby, I'll start with you. But just what were your initial thoughts after game 1, and then just now that obviously with the series being tied, just what has changed your mind after the game 2 beatdown?
I mean, so Mike actually said this in a Discord during the game. Is game 1s just don't get along with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I don't know what it is, man. But I was a little worried after game 1. But then just to see the response that they came out with, it just goes back to everything that we've been saying for the past 3-4 weeks. Is the culture in that building is just so different now, man. The team that I wanted them to be 2 years ago, and I thought that they were, seems like they are now. I mean, that response is don't get me wrong here, is a championship response. You know what I mean? Like it to be dominated in that fashion in game 1, because they were. Beginning to end, they were dominated in game 1. And then they came out and said, fuck you, we're going to dominate you in game 2. And everything they did wrong in that game 1, they seemed to correct until Mike said, until that third quarter. But it's still, I'm not as worried about it just because I feel like they got into a time management mindset. And you could see it. Even, listen, when Stan Van Gundy is pointing out that you're stagnant and it's absolutely true, then it's definitely a thing that happened. So something needs to be corrected from that second half. But the response, man, the response was next level for me. I love how they came out on fire like that. Jaylen Brown was an absolute beast in that game, though. Like enough can't be said about Jaylen and his 30 points in 38 minutes. What was he? I think he was like 6 of 10 from 3 in that game. He was awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, game 1 was at the end of that game. I just said you just can't rely on threes, because Milwaukee's game is to literally just flood the paint and make you kick it out and shoot. Right? They don't really defend. They give up threes because they don't want to defend it. They don't run up against a lot of teams that will just shoot from 3. Right? I think in game 1, the Celtics went 18 of 50 from 3, which is 36%. Not great. Not really great. And I think what's most disheartening about that was that most of the threes that they missed were uncontested.
Yeah.
So it was just a bad shooting night, right? I think DK said it best in our group chat. Like, that has to be Jaylen Brown's worst game ever. Like, he can never do that again. And he came out in game 2 firing. The biggest area of concern after game 1, then we can talk about game 2, is it just felt like that the Celtics were getting dominated in the paint. But when you really think about it, they only trailed the Bucks by, I think, 14 points in total points in the paint after game one. So they only scored 20 and Milwaukee only scored 34. So take that for what it is. You have to push it. You have to give Milwaukee a reason to leave you open on the perimeter. And I think that they did that a lot in the opening quarter or two quarters in game two. And, the Celtics weren't missing. But when you look at a stat line, it's not often that you'll read a stat line of the winning team, that says that they went 20 of 43 from three, and they were outscored in the paint 54-24. That's scary.
Well, I mean, it's scary because of who they have down there, right? So obviously with Giannis, Portis can do his thing down there. Lopez can do his thing. To answer the question that I asked, my thoughts after game one was, okay, we got punched in the mouth. You got to respond. And once again, these are the defending champs. So to think that you were going to sweep your way through or gentlemen sweep your way through was absurd. It's the playoffs are going to bring adversity. That's what it's supposed to be. So whether it's your own adversity, because it's through injury, and you saw what happened with Marcus Smart, whether it's adversity from the other team. And, to me, game one was a perfect whirlwind for, disaster, right? So Giannis getting to the paint, had 24 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists. Jrue Holiday played above what he usually Jrue Holiday is a plus defender. He's a plus playmaker. The knock on him for his whole career since he came out of UCLA back in 2009 was he's hot and cold offensively. Had one All-Star year. He might have been All-Star a couple times now, but I remember at least him being All-Star one time. But this is not the same Jrue Holiday that was in New Orleans or even his days in Philly. So, offensively, he can, he could be had. And that's what we saw happen in game two, because I think he went 7-20. I think he had 19 points. So that's more of what I expect him to shoot 35% from the field, not what he did in game one, getting a steal from Marcus Smart and pulling up hit a three. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you Steph Curry? Shut up. Like, get out of here. Like that's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? So, they may have played their best game or one of their best games, and they might have showed their hand completely. Because once again, game two was a complete flip of what we saw in game one. 101, 8 or 9, and then they don't even break 90 in game two. Like, to me, that's more closer to what we're going to see the rest of the series. I don't think we're not going to see a 121 to 115. Well, I think with Middleton obviously on, and then Marcus Smart, I think that we just had a game like that, but we're not seeing a 121 to 115 type of game. But to your point about Jaylen Brown, Bobby, I'm extremely proud of Jaylen Brown, right? For him to be there, the reports came out after that, the game obviously started at 7. He was there at 3:30, 3:45, just getting shots up and just was locked in. So obviously he cares about his performance. He knows that he owed the team, a great performance for him. So for him to go 11-19 overall, for him to score 17 in the first quarter, that's what set the tone. Like, the game essentially was over in the first quarter. I don't share the same sentiment as me being concerned with having the third quarter. Like, Milwaukee was going to make a run at some point. Like, that's just what it is. Now, even with them making the run, they were still never up they were still never down. Milwaukee was still down 15, 16, even after making a run.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now I want to credit eBay because I think it was the coach. The Minnesota coach. They see Memphis going a 21-0 run.
No timeout.
No timeouts.
Yep.
None. Like, what the fuck? No timeout. What are you doing? Like, are you part of the Chris Webber Academy? Let me know. What is going on? So,
isn't that the opposite?
Maybe it is exactly right. Exactly. Oh, no, when I say not knowing when to call timeout, there you go. That's why I said that. But yeah, either way, it was insane in 1993. It was insane now in 2022. Regardless, Ime sees it get down to 16. Mike, to his credit, says in the Discord, great timeout, got to regroup. And that's what they did. They regrouped and get a couple steals, Tatum hits a couple threes or whatever. And, the rest is history. So you're going to get lax when you're up that big. That's just, it. Playoffs, regular season, doesn't matter. You shouldn't. We know that. Duh, especially with the history of this team, as I hit my mic because I'm so excited. But it's just like, that's what was going on. So they got the job done. And now we know we go to Milwaukee for game 3. But the next question I want to ask, and Mike, I'll start with you. So obviously the Jays were impressive. Brown gets 30. Tatum gets 29, even though a lot of that was late. So, we know what they bring to the table. But Really, if you ask me, the MVP of the game, really of the series, hell, even of the playoffs so far, is number 12, Grant Williams. So, Mike, I'll start with you. But just, how is his defensive ability, really his 3-point shooting, changed, the game plan for the Celtics so far in the playoffs?
Yeah. So if you were to tell me a year and a half ago that Grant Williams is going to be the reason, or one of the players that shuts down Kevin Durant and then Giannis in the playoffs, I would have looked at you dead in the face and said, you are fucking ridiculous. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. And on the defensive front, I really still, and this is my lack of basketball knowledge, I still can't quite comprehend how Grant Williams is doing what he's doing. I mean, I know that he has a great wingspan. He's playing way bigger than he is. It's just really hard for me to comprehend the fact that Grant Williams is doing this. Now, in terms of the 3-point shooting, I mean, I was looking up some stats. Do you know what where his hot spots are shooting threes?
Usually the left corner.
He is 42% from the right corner, 46% from the left corner.
Wow.
That's unfucking believable.
Yeah,
right?
that's wild.
And so, like, when I say, just to backtrack a little bit, when I say I was disappointed or like a little worried, it's because that run that Milwaukee made in the third quarter, in my opinion, was a self-inflicted run by the Celtics. Milwaukee wasn't doing anything different than they were in the first and the second, right? The Celtics just gave up just on the illusion that they were no longer going to penetrate. They were going to settle for threes. And that's what happened. Right. But listen, man, you're telling me that if you're the coach of the Bucks and you're going to allow 3-pointers, like, that's fine. You're going to let Grant Williams stand in either one of those quarters. You're going to get burned. He will hit. I mean, he'll hit 4 out of every 10, which is absolutely insane. I almost want to say that it's not sustainable, but we saw him do it for 4 games against Kevin Durant. And now with this 4-day layoff between game 2 and game 3, Ime is a great in-game adjuster, right? He does a great job. And he does it also, he's just a great coach when it comes to making adjustments. Milwaukee's head guy, he makes really good adjustments too. I'm really interested to see what they do in terms of getting Giannis, or just telling Giannis, you're going to be one-on-one with him and you can beat him and see what happens. But through 2 games, I mean, Grant Williams is absolutely tearing it up. He has 21 points in game 2. I think he had 8 points in game 1, but he was a plus 22 yesterday. It's incredible.
So to back up exactly what you were just saying about Grant, Giannis, when defended by Grant Williams in game 2, 8 points, 4 of 10 for field goals, a turnover, no fouls, and 6 minutes of matchup time throughout the entire game. The Bucks are 7 of 16 shooting versus Grant in game 2, and that was a team best 8.4% below expected per NBA tracking, which means the shots that were getting put up against Grant Williams are shots that they normally hit. But this dude is just contesting everything. And bro, what's crazy about it is with Grant, you can tell Giannis doesn't want to drive on him, man. He wants no part of Grant Williams in the paint for some reason. Like, I don't know what it was about Giannis in that first half, but I've never seen that man shoot more jumpers in my entire life. Any game I've ever seen Giannis play, I've never seen him pull up for that many jumpers. The only time he started going downhill again is when they switch Al onto him. So I just think it's so key for Grant to be there because, listen, it's the same thing that happened in game 1. Giannis wants no part of it, man. He wants no part of Grant Williams down low. And like you said, dude, it is so unfathomable that this is the Grant Williams that we're watching now. I mean, listen to these stats. So game 2, 7 of 14 from the field, 50%, 6 of 9 from 3, 66% from 3-point. That's absurd. And this is what's crazy about this transformation too, is this isn't who Grant Williams ever was. It's not like he was a 3-point shooter in college. It's not like he was, right? It's not like this is a whole new guy that we have come to love in Boston. And it's so crazy because literally last year, I think us 3 spent 25 minutes in a segment about why this dude can't be on the team this year. And it's such a crazy turnaround, man. It's unbelievable. And he is 100% the most important person to this team moving forward, right? Ray? For our success, if we're going to make a deep run in this playoffs with who we're going to have to play, he is the most important person on this team. But besides, maybe besides the Jays, but the most important role player.
No, him is smart.
Yeah.
To me are interchangeable, maybe even Time Lord, depending on the series. But, to further this segment, this man was 0-25 his rookie year for three. 0-25. I mean, he was shooting like me on the court at the YMCA. He was shooting like me. Could have hit the ocean. He was next to it. That's how it was, which is why I became a hell of a passer when I used to play back in the day. I was like, I could pass up around all that, but man, shooting, put me on the bench, coach. Can't do it.
So what happened, Ray? Like what?
I'm at with me.
No, I know what happened with you.
They put me in football and my life changed, but.
His ankle
I think with him, you're right. Obviously it had to be something that they practiced. Obviously, listen, with Brad Stevens before, coming in, he made like, that's what, if you're a big, you're expected to be able to shoot. Like, that's why when they signed Al Horford from Atlanta, back in 2016, he was just starting to get that game. We talked about that with Jared on the 617, but, you could not be in this offense, no matter who's the coach now, really in the NBA, if you cannot at least have the threat of shooting a mid-range to a 3-point shot. So, he's 6'6", 6'7" maybe. And I've seen him. Like I've been like next to him because I've been on the floor sometimes when I do security. Like he's not, and I say this because I'm a big guy myself, but he's not that big. He's not. He's really not. So it's just like, and once again, I get it. I know people are like, you tell yourself, yeah, I know, but I'm like, he's not. So he's not the super big guy. Like I said,
he's 6'6". He's my height.
Al is a legit 6'10". Robert's legit 6'9". Tyson legit 6'9". Tanner's legit 6'9", 6'10". So it's like, they have length, everywhere. But to his credit, man, listen, he realized that, look, if I'm gonna carve out a niche in this league, I have to defend at a high level, and I gotta knock down the corner three. And the best part about this, he's becoming a modern day Bruce Bowen. That's fucking beautiful. That's what Bruce Bowen was. Granted, we didn't see it here in Boston. It's funny, it's ironic that they wear the same number too. It's ironic. They're both number 12. But it's just like that to me is what he's had to become. He's had to become a modern day Bruce Bowen. So if that's the trajectory, I'm all for it. I am grateful that he's become that. I feel bad that it could be him and Romeo, because I was really a big Romeo guy. I thought that Romeo coming out of college was going to be the next guy that we could have on our bench that would perform, but it didn't work out that way. But yeah, without Grant Williams, man, like I said, which is wild to say, but it is what it is. They would not be in the position they are to take a lead on the series, and for him to guard two of the best players this league has ever seen. Forget about now.
Yeah, in the world.
In the world, right? In any era, for Grant Williams, from Tennessee, from North Carolina, to really have a hold on the series is just awesome. And I'm glad he's on our team, and I'm glad that that Danny and Brad and whoever the powers may be, Austin Age and Mike Zarin, that they didn't listen to us as a fan base, because
right, preach.
There's a few deals that fans wanted. This it's like, if that's happening, we're not seeing this run, and because we're impatient. But go ahead, Mike.
Before we move on from Grant Williams, I just want to take you and everyone that's listening and or watching this through this journey. Your rookie year, he shoots 24 of 96 for three for a 25% 3-point percentage. Next year, 48 of 129 for 37%. So that's a huge increase. He doubled the amount of threes he took this year. He went 106, 58, and he shot 42%.
So, Mike, we're on the same. We're literally on the same page, bro. Because I have the same thing pulled up, except I just want to extend it out to college too. College, I'm just going to sum up all 3 years. 29% over 3 years, and he attempted 103 threes over 3 years, and he attempted more than that this year.
258 this year.
Yeah.
He hit 106 this year.
So made more threes this year than he had his entire college career. Like Correct. he literally reinvented himself.
Yeah, I believe he was the player of the year down there too, which is wild in Tennessee. But you had Aaron Schofield, some other guys that was on the team. I get it. So maybe that wasn't his role to shoot there. But listen, man, like I said, I am glad that they said to him, look, if you want to stay in this league, you want to stay on this team, you need to develop this shot. And once again, once it was amazing that once the Jays playmaking abilities started to, really be on display,
right,
is when Grant took off.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the stuff with Derek White and one through that came here, like that's where you saw the whole team really feel invested. So, once again, he's done a phenomenal job, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Let's say real quick, Ray. You can bookmark this. You can keep this for. I don't care how poor this ages. Sign him now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what he's going to max out as, but if he gets any better next year, like he'll be shooting 45% from three. Everything about his game is improving, and now he's showing you that he can be a shutdown against two of the best players to ever play. So sign him.
Right.
You know who he's reminding me a lot of on the defensive side of the ball, and this is throwing it back a little bit. And this is not saying this person could ever hit a three, but is Horace Grant. He was such a difference maker on the defensive end, man, and just he turned the tides of series. You know what I mean? You look at when he went from Chicago to Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
He literally brought that Orlando team
to swept Chicago.
Bro, that's what I mean. And he's such a difference maker. That's literally what, like, every time I watch him on the defensive floor now, I think Horace Grant, man, because like I said, everyone is scared to go up and try and body this dude. And like Mike said, dude, it's so crazy because he's not that big. He plays like he's 7'2".
Right.
He plays, it's insane, man, what he's done. And yeah, if you're gonna move on from that, I don't know what else to say about him because like we could rave about Grant Williams all night long and what he's turned into, man. It's amazing.
Right. So, I want to speak to the player that he's been guarding, right? Because obviously there's two teams in the series, it's not just the Celtics. So, obviously, Giannis shot 9-25 in game one. His stat line it wasn't technically better in game two, but when he had 28, 9-7, even though he shot 2-12 in the first half. So, Bobby, I'll start with you. Just, are we due to see a Giannis breakout performance? And if not, why do you think that it may not happen?
So, I'm just going to go back to our first series, man. And I don't mean to keep drawing these parallels, but this is what we said about KD. He's due. He's going to drop 50. He's going to drop 50. It's happening. And he didn't have his game until it was too late and we had already eliminated them. I truly think that if the Bucks are going to have success against us, it's going to be because of their role players. And that's what happened in game one. You saw Grayson Allen killed us. Jrue Holiday killed us. Giannis was being Giannis, but he wasn't the dominant Giannis that we've seen throughout the years. And I just think it's so telling. So the one possession to me that says, I don't know if he's going to have that breakout game. Bro, Peyton Pritchard forced this man out on the baseline. Peyton Pritchard bodied Giannis out of bounds. That just shows you the mindset.
I thought that was a foul, but I was happy they let it go.
You can't call foul on someone that's 6 foot on Giannis.
I feel you, but
can't.
I feel you. I thought it was a foul, but I saw it from where I was standing. I was like, he certainly got him out of bounds, which is fine. I'm with it. I'm not mad at it.
Fearless, bro. That's
facts.
That's where my head keeps going. Is we are fearless. We don't care if you're Giannis. We don't care if you're Kevin Durant. We can switch anyone onto you, and we're gonna be able to at least force you into a tough shot. All right, you may score, but it ain't gonna be easy. And that's just the MO that I see continuing throughout. Yes, Giannis could have 100%. He could drop 40, but I guarantee you to be the hardest 40 points he's ever scored in his entire life.
And also, Middleton isn't there to drop his consistent 22, which would put you in a position to win the game.
Right.
Like this, I'm not going to be negative, I promise. But we can all agree that this series is different if Middleton is playing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Giannis, I think if he goes 11 for 27, consistently, that's not bad, right? But you can't start off 1 of 9 or whatever, however piss poor he started off in that game. I don't think he's a front runner, but I do think he, like most athletes, he requires a little bit of momentum. And if you throw him off early, the entire team doesn't know what to do because their offense runs as it should through him. And when he's missing shots that he's usually making, or he's not even attempting the shots that he normally would because of whatever mythical powers Grant Williams has over him, then it throws him all through a loop. I think you're probably going to see more of a stat line, like a 35-point average throughout the series. But I think Giannis averaged 31 points per game this year, but against the Celtics, he averaged 28. So like what we saw game 2 is right on average. It was an ugly 28.
Right. Well, let me stay with you, Mike, because obviously, Milwaukee's lineup is Holiday, Wes Matthews, Giannis, Portis, and then Brook Lopez. So do you think the double big lineup, which is Portis and Lopez, do you think they can survive this series, keep playing those two guys at a high, basically playing them, 25 to 30 minutes a game? Do you think they can survive the series playing them guys how many minutes?
So my answer to that is I actually think that you need Portis to do more. Because I don't think, I think Lopez at this point in time in his career is giving you the best kind of minutes that he can, and he's giving you a pretty good amount of offensive production. Now, to game 2, 2 points, not great, right?
Yeah.
But you need one of them to step up. And I would say that, now you can't really go by like plus minuses in basketball, but Portis should be your guy. I mean, because Lopez is so far in the series, Lopez is a minus 28. So Portis, I think that's the horse that you need to bet on. But what can they do? I mean, I don't know. He was 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. If he takes 7 more shots, is he still 10 of 14? You need him to be. Like, you need him to be better than he has been all year if everything goes the way that it did in game 2.
Yeah. See, I think the key is the role players, man. I said this before, and that's because in game 1, what you saw was we collapsed in on Giannis. Every time that dude brought it into the paint, he had 2-3 guys on him, and we left dudes open from that 3-point range. I can't tell you how many open threes, like you said, Giroux had, or Grayson had in that game 1, and the script just changed in game 2. I don't know if it was because of the Grant confidence factor on Giannis, or just the fact that Giannis was pulling up and shooting jump shots for some godforsaken reason. But I think it is something that, without those role players, I don't think they can stand a chance, man, because so you think about, I don't mean to keep bringing this back to Giannis, but obviously the Bucks are Giannis. So this dude, when he is on, right, he isn't going 11 of 27 from the field. He isn't shooting 36%. He's shooting 80% from the field. He's shooting 70% from the field. That's the kind of guy Giannis is, where he scores, 35, 40 points, and he's 18 of 24 from the field or something insane like that, because that's the kind of guy he is. He goes to the hole. He slams it on you. He's just an athletic freak. So the fact that, I feel like it was an adjustment, like we said, that Emmy made, that we stopped collapsing in on him and just tried bodying him out of that paint. That's when you see that success, that like he's either pulling up for jumpers or he's passing it out to Giroux to go 1 of 6 from 3, or, Portis to miss all his threes that game. So it's all reliant on, in my opinion, if we can body Giannis one-on-one, man. And you know what I mean? Like, that was the key to that game 2 start, I think. And you saw it in Giannis, man. I just keep going back to it. I have never seen Giannis shoot so many jumpers. Have you? Have you ever seen that happen?
So probably the first time they faced them in the playoffs, that 2017-2018 year, when Milwaukee was coming in as a 17 and we were 2, he didn't know, he didn't figure it out. It was Middleton.
He wasn't Giannis yet.
Yeah,
he wasn't Giannis yet.
He was still, I think he won most of the player that year, if I'm not mistaken, but it was Middleton that was giving us buckets and it stayed that way for the rest of his career thus far. But I think that's probably the last time it was. And obviously, that was the young hospital Celtics and Ricky Tatum and second year Brown. And so there was just a lot of stuff figuring stuff out really on the fly. And that's going to be a really great series. And I'm going 7 as well. So I expect that here, but we'll get into that, shortly. But, to answer the question about Portis and Lopez, I think that
was the question, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I feel
Giannis.
Yeah, Giannis, right? Yeah. I feel like you guys were a lot more diplomatic than I'm going to be.
It's because you know more than I do.
Brook Lopez got to sit his ass on the bench. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was garbage, man. He was garbage.
When you run a pick and roll at him every single time.
Yeah, he can't
run his
match
ass into the ground. That's simple. Make him unplayable. That's what you got to be. Portis is nimble enough to kind of still move around and but run the pick and roll every single time. Make his ass unplayable, just like you did to Andre Drummond. Now, Granted, he shoots better than Andre Drummond, so that's why he's out there as a floor spacer even at 7'2". But this is not the number 10 pick that you got from Stanford in 2008. He's not that same guy. Not the same guy that was dominating in Brooklyn. That was a 2-time All-Star over there. It's not that same guy. Once again, they have made him into this rim protector, savant because he's on the championship team. But he's still a guy that's not. He's still a guy that's very slow. It's very, very turtle-like on the floor. So personally, to me, this type of series, and once again, I hope that no one from over there is listening to this part. I would actually put Serge Ibaka out there. That's what I'm saying. That to me, you want to so it'd be Holiday, Wes Matthews, Giannis, and obviously it'd be Serge and Portis. And then because Serge is going to bring Horford out, he's going to bring, and it's going to force Rob to be on one of those guys, and he can't be the roamer. That's when Giannis would get his 40 because he had the pace wide open. That's when that happens. Then your cave begin. It's like, oh, I'm kicking over to Grayson, or I'm kicking over to whoever. Like that's when they start to pile on and they run guys out the building. So, but yeah, to me, like I said, Portis and Lopez, to me, I was actually surprised when I'm like, wait, this is the starting lineup. Like, you're really going with this? And listen, I'm sorry. This is, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. You're not telling me that Wes Matthews is still a key contributor in 2022. No fucking way, bro. Like Jaylen Brown, torch his ass every single time you on the floor. There's no way. This is not Portland Wes Matthews. This is like no.
This is not $74 million contract Wes Matthews.
No way, bro. No way. I'm sorry. Like people try to just he's locked. No. He was locked down in Portland. Don't get me wrong. He had a very good career in Portland. Very good role player. You're not telling me that you're depending on him to shut down someone like Jaylen Brown. Listen, man, Jaylen Brown, and you started in the game too. When you get there Saturday afternoon, Jaylen Brown, work his ass all night long. He cannot guard him. Grayson Allen cannot guard him. Pat Connaughton, I know it's your guy, Joe. He cannot guard Jaylen Brown. So I'm sorry. And they damn sure can't guard Tatum. That's Drew Holiday can do. He can guard both. Drew Holiday is a phenomenal defender. But the other boys I just mentioned, hell no. So work them. Which is why they funnel everyone to the paint, because they know they got some weak ass defenders there. That's why. But like to me, once again, I didn't mean to get that worked up about it. But I'm telling y'all, Brook Lopez, you have to make him unplayable. You have to. But the way, because I know we talked about the 3-point shot. They were 18 of 50 in game 1, 20 of 43 in game 2. So that 18 of 50, 36%, 47% in game 2. 36% is league average, so it wasn't like right. If they go 20 or 50, guess what? That's 40%. So once again, it was a whirlwind. They got punched in the mouth, and on top of that, I think the Scott Foster thing mattered. And listen, for those that listen to this, you say he blamed the rep. Listen, it's not about blaming the rep. When people know. The fact that fans across the world, forget about just in Boston or New York or Memphis, fans across the world or the NBA world know Scott Foster by name, like he had us over for dinner with his family, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And he's known as the extender. That's a problem. So in my mind, they say, you know what? We're going to start him now, get all the calls there. And once again, they couldn't get it out of their heads. Listen, Tatum was upset, Jaylen Brown was upset or whatever. Obviously, Marcus Smart was hampered with so there was just a bunch of things that went, whatever could go wrong in that case, did go wrong in game 1. They righted the ship, obviously, in game 2. So, that's my last point on that. So I want to get back to our stars, right? Because we've given a good amount of credit to the Milwaukee side, but obviously, everything, most of what we do starts with Jason and Jaylen. So obviously, they could buy for 69 points. 59 points, excuse me. The biggest thing, right, exactly. Well, Milwaukee did get fucked. But let's go, baby. the biggest thing is that they combined for 12 assists, right? So Giannis had 12 assists in game 1, and then it dropped down to 7, right? So when you're getting other people involved, obviously that's what opens up the offense, whether you're driving to the hole, driving a kick. So with them combining for 59 points in game 1, combining for 12 assists, Mike, what kind of numbers are you looking like from both of them going forward? And, what is your expectation going into game 3 on Saturday?
Yeah, so I think for the barometer for the Celtics to be successful, it goes through those two. And I think you're 100% spot on. I think if you walk out of the game, and after game 3, we see that Jason and Jalen accounted for 57 points, and I think the number is still 12 plus assists. Then I would pick the Celtics to win that game because what makes my biggest complaint, you can go back and you can listen to every show that I shit all over the Celtics and said, trade Jason Tatum. Because I said that, right? I would rather keep Jaylen Brown. I said it. I own it. I was wrong. Great. My biggest complaint is that they were redundant. They both did the same things and neither of them did anything different. Now we've seen Jason take this next step, and as Bobby, kind of prophesized 6 months ago, but this ascension where he is becoming more of a superstar, and it's not just because he's making more shots, it's because he's making shots better for others around him, and he needs to continue to do that. I think Jalen struggles ball handling. I think Jason Tatum does things in his sleep that Jaylen Brown works his ass off to do. So there's just more God-given talent, and in terms of ball handling, you see it every time that Jalen gets pressured when he's crossing half court, he always fumbles the ball, right? So I think it goes through Marcus, and it goes through Jalen or Jason, and then it goes to Jaylen Brown. But those two need to account for anywhere between 55 to 65 points for a win. I'll get to my biggest area of concern after, but that's how I feel about those two. Yes, I was wrong. I know.
I love to hear that. Anyway, just especially about these two guys, man, because you guys both know I've had a soft spot for both of these since the day they came into Boston.
Some would say a wet spot.
100% a wet spot, because these two are maybe the two most basketball gifted players that we've seen in Boston in a long time, man. When it comes to Jalen, Mike, I couldn't agree more with his ball handling, man. I swear to God, if I see Jaylen Brown turn the ball over one more time, bringing the ball up the court, I'm going to flip my shit. But that's the only complaint I have about anything that he's done throughout this playoff series, man. He's turned into a more consistent... He turned into what Jeff Green was supposed to be from day one. You know what I mean? Like, he's so athletic, he gets to the hoop, and he actually has a consistent jumper now, which is something that Jeff Green never got to. So that's where I think he's at now, is like what we thought Jeff Green was going to be when he got drafted. That's what Jalen is now, man. And Jason Tatum is just, bona fide superstar at this part. You know what I mean? Like, he's what I thought he was going to be, man. Exactly what you said. Like,
yeah, you were right, Bobby. We know. I was wrong. You were right.
Yeah, we'll just say it. What, you want to say it again?
I mean, you're just finding 18 different ways to fucking say it.
No, but that Jeff Green, that was really fucking good. Yeah, that was fun. But I was like, wow. Yeah, no, wow.
Because you remember how good he was supposed to be, man. And Jalen was never had that ceiling that we thought he had, man. And he's taken his game to a different level. And honestly, I think it's because of Tatum. I think it's because of this next step that Jason took, that Jalen's like, okay, now I got to step my shit up. Because listen, I was the complete opposite of you, Mike. 2 years ago, I was calling for Jalen's ass, man. I did not like Jaylen Brown. I didn't like the way he played basketball because he reminded me so much of Jeff Green. And I thought he was going down that same path, but he took a turn, man. And just to see the guy that he's turned into with that killer instinct alongside Jason Tatum, I just think the sky's the limit with these two, man. And to win this series, I think they need probably, I think you're right, between 50 and 60 points a game. And if these dudes are setting up Grant Williams with those open threes, setting up Peyton Pritchard with those open threes, it's going to be tough for Milwaukee to beat us.
I mean, real quick, Ray, to your point, because I don't want to cut you off, and I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Mm-hmm.
The Celtics had 28 assists in game 2. Those two accounted for 50% of them. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean that's the key though. Like, and I'm with it's a 3 for 3. I'm with you. Like, they need to score to 50 to 60 points. I mean, I'm greedy. I want 60 to 70, but that's a little too high. Well, no, I mean, actually, I think like listen, we talked about Giannis being due. Tatum's due too. Tatum is due for a 40 piece, 40 piece wing dinner, all flats. Lemon pepper seasoning, with some fries on the side. Like it is
don't
time.
Forget the mac and cheese.
Don't
bro.
forget the mac and cheese. Don't forget the mac and cheese. There you go. So yeah, and a Pepsi. Like it is time. It is time to see the one. Yeah, all that 1-2. Then that 1-2 dribble with the side step. For 3, and you hear Mike breathe. Bang! Jason Tatum does it again. Timeout Milwaukee. Like I want to hear that constantly. these next couple of nights. So that's what's needed. But like I said, the key thing is the assist. So
right.
if you limit Giannis assists, and if you limit, and same thing for Milwaukee, if you limit what Tatum and Brown are doing as playmaking, then you got a shot. But I couldn't leave that Jeff Green, Jaylen Brown comparison alone. Like as soon as you said that, I was just like, oh my God, like I have to do the rabbit hole and go back into that. Remember that game Jeff Green had against Miami had won like 20 in a row at that moment. And he went
that quarter bananas, 3, bro.
That bananas on. Oh no, that was the following year. The game where I remember that. But Miami was on they funny. Ironically, Milwaukee had the streak for 33 wins in a row at one point. Anyways, Jeff Green went crazy. He had 40 on LeBron. Was doing whatever. But the biggest difference, and I know you said about Jaylen Brown's ceiling has risen, and it's true. Jeff Green was always comfortable being really good. Right, he would give you 43 one night, next night 16 points, 5 of 20 from the field, and it's like, like this is the same guy that was out here dunking and jumping over people, like, but that's just what it was, right? Even Oklahoma City, right? So that's just how he's been as a player. Jaylen Brown, I think, cares about his performance, as you saw, to be as poor as he was in game 1, and say, you know what, I'm coming to the gym early, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm ready for my teammates and for myself and for the city. Like it's the mental, right? Once again, all these athletes in the NBA are great. So we can joke and troll on it. Every athlete in the NBA is phenomenal, but it's the mental that separates from good to great. And I think now they were very good under Brad, right? Very good. Well, once again, 55 and 27, 53 and 29, 40, 47 and 24, whatever the next year, and lost in the conference finals. Like very good. So now you get a disciple of Pop. So now we're going from good, where, okay, your skills again, you buy. Now we're thinking through the game. It's okay, you know what? If I'm drawing 2 and I see, okay, if I'm at the top of the key and I see Derek White in the corner and his man comes to me and Derek White cuts his, okay, send it off to White, get a layup, or just whatever it may, or set the picker, get somebody to pick a roll. Oh, Rob's man's coming up to me. Okay, let me throw the lob over the top to Rob Williams, get an easy basket. So that's the next level where they're thinking through the game, and that's what now is separating the Jaylen Browns from a Jeff Green, Tatum, for whoever came before him. So, and it's beautiful, to see. But one more thing I wanted to touch on, but I just said his name.
I can never articulate it as intelligently as you just did, but as someone without going into all the game stats and the mindset, I think that there is something different. So I think that the Jeff Green comparison is like literally spot on.
Spot on, yeah, spot on, yeah.
Spot on. But there's something to be said about the fact that Jeff Green, when he was drafted, was coming in as the new kid, like to replace somebody, or maybe he would be anointed. And then his second incarnation when he was on the team, like it was Paul, it was Ray, it was KG. He was never going to be that. So he could just be good. Jaylen should, and I always wondered if he did. I always thought he would have one, but it feels like he does now. They drafted him, and then the very next year they picked someone who does exactly what he does, but better. So he should have that chip on his shoulder. And I think what we're finally seeing now, yeah, he's going to work harder to do it, but he couldn't be, he may never be a top 10 NBA player of all time. Like, maybe Jason Tatum will be, but if he's top 25, then that's incredible for what he had to overcome to get there.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's our Pippen, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not comparing us to the Bulls dynasty. All right, don't take that and run away with it. But I'm just saying, like, he is our secondary. I could see you, like, just fucking ready to fucking bite at that.
I almost just had
just say he's our Antoine for right now.
He's our Antoine, right? He's our
Antoine, just like Chris. So it's okay. That's okay to say that. It's okay.
And I think what really solidifies how amazing Jaylen is, okay, is I know you're going to talk about Derek White in a second. I have a thing about Derek White, Rayshawn. That dunk over Giannis, man, was just another level, man. And he got fouled. For the record, he also got fouled on that dunk, and they didn't call it. So he had an and one, Giannis hanging on his arm, and he slammed that shit home on him. Okay, so it's just a different attitude than Jeff Green ever had, and it's amazing to see. It's just awesome to see what he's actually turned into.
Right, no, for sure. So let's get back to the current roster. So welcome to the Jeff Green Hour. I'm your host for the evening, but no,
No, always good for a Jeff Green reference too.
Yeah, no. Like I said, it was spot on. That's that. I hope that we use that when we put it out there. But no, so Derek White, obviously Derek White filled in for Marcus Smart last night. Didn't score, but had 4 rebounds, had 5 assists in 28 minutes, I believe. So Bobby, I'll start with you. Just what was your thoughts about him starting for Marcus Smart? Just how did you think he did last night in his absence?
Listen, I don't know if I'm going to be on an island here, but I have come to hate Derek White. I hate when he's on the floor. I hate when he has the ball in his hands. I hate when he puts up a shot. I've never been more uncomfortable with someone at the rim shooting a layup than I am with Derek White. This man misses so many layups. It is absurd. He gives you the intangibles. I'll give you that. He gives you, those defensive minutes. He gives you the extra pieces that you need, or the extra things that you need on the floor, man. But I just can't deal with him offensively anymore. I can't do it. Listen, I'll say this. You guys know I'm a Pritchard fan, so this may come with a grain of salt, but I am so much more comfortable with Tatum bringing up the ball and Pritchard as our secondary guard than I am with Derek White on the floor as our primary ball handler. I can't do it anymore, man. I'm out on the Derek White experiment. Okay, I think that the trade was very vital to the mindset and what we brought to the table for the rest of the season. I think getting those guys out and bringing Derek White in, shortening the rotation, the whole thing was very vital to the run that we've made and where we are right now. But I can't do with a guy that has 20 minutes, 0 for 6 in the field, 0 for 4 from 3 in a game. I'm sorry, I can't do it. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be on an island here, but I just can't deal with those empty offensive possessions from him anymore. Those layups that you see and you're like, bro, here we go. I can't do it anymore. I'm out on Derek White. I know he's going to play a key piece and he's going to have a big game, and I'm going to end up eating these words later. I know that for a fact. But at this time, I'm out. I'm done with Derek White offensively. If you want to sub him out every defensive possession, that's fine. But I think he's inept offensively at this point, man. I can't do it.
I mean, for those of you listening, if we're down on a player, you can call us stupid, but you should probably bet the over on that player in 2 years, because that's what's going to happen. Just bet it now. I just can't, it's like the exact opposite of Grant Williams. How do you go from shooting 42% from the field in the regular season to shooting 28% in the playoffs? How does that happen? To Bobby's point, I think he articulated it perfectly, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I have about as much confidence in Derek White making a shot as he does. And it's visible that he has no confidence in anything that he's doing offensively. So if he's going to contribute, and if you think that he is contributing, fine. Yeah, he played vital minutes. He's playing vital minutes. He's not a liability defensively. Sure. But if you're down 1 in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, we better not see him on the court.
Yeah, he better not be on that goddamn.
Because then he's a liability.
Yeah, I was hoping that, you guys went that route. I was hoping. I almost expected it, honestly, when I thought about it.
Thanks, Ray.
When you help hold Drew Holiday to 7 to 20 shooting, you still find a way to get 5 assists. Now, yes, offensively, yeah, he's been in the rut for a while, obviously. I did see a stat earlier that he's did 25 and 7 since he's been here. And remember, when he first got here back in February, that new lineup they was doing when it was Smart, Rob, Derek White, Tatum, and Brown, they was shutting folks down immediately when he got here. So I think defensively he fits the bill, 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and
that's good.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's exactly what I mean when I say he was so vital to the team that we turned into and who we are right now.
Right.
But man, I just keep going.
Yeah.
I
get it. Look, you had your turn to go off. I got you. I'm gonna bring it home. No, you're good. Wait, class is this session. We haven't used that one in a while. But no, listen, I understand the frustration offensively. That I'm not here to be, I'm not here to be the bearer of good news when it comes to that, right? That's ridiculous. But we've talked about there's more to the game than what you see on a stat sheet. It's not a coincidence that the ball movement looked a little different with him out there. Now, once again, we've spoken to Marcus Smart as a playmaker this year. But when Derek White got traded, the first thing that people spoke about, it wasn't necessarily the offense, it wasn't the defense. It was like he makes quick decisions. So when he gets the ball up the court, it's, Tatum or Brown's ahead of me, cool, I'm making that bounce pass. Or we see Pritchard or Horford fill in the corners as you're supposed to do on a fast break. He finds them on the corner. Now, whether they make or miss a shot, whatever, that's out of their control. But that's what he's doing. Now, I want to touch on the offense a little bit because obviously we know where he came from. He came out of San Antonio under Pop. Obviously, Ime had coached him over there for a while as well. He has a Tony Parker floater in his game. I know because I've seen it. I've seen it in San Antonio. I seen him dunk on Paul Millsap in the playoff game when he had 36 a few years ago. He could show up in these moments. I've seen it. But he's got to get back to believing he could dominate in this moment. That's the biggest thing. So to what you said, Mike. So it's there. And I want, and once again, this is where, the three of us know, Celtics stuff. We can go back pulling the archives. I'm going to the archives. So remember, 2009 and 2010, we traded for this little guy named Nate Robinson, right? Got it from New York. And people's like, man, he's struggling. He's not doing this, he's not doing that. And what did Doc Rivers do? He came up to the podium and said, Nate Robinson is going to win us the game. And that game, too, against Orlando that year in the conference finals, where I think Rondo got in foul trouble, Nate Robinson goes for 13 in that second quarter, wins us the game.
Shrek and Donkey game? The Shrek and Donkey game, bro?
Game 4, 2010 finals. They had him and Big Baby go crazy. So, I say that to say, in 2022, whether it's this series or they advance, Derek White's going to be the reason why they win the game. It's a game or even a series. It's going to happen. Because I just think that he's that good of a player. So once again, people have slumps. Hell, we did a show that will come out in the future talk about Ray Allen. Like Ray Allen had his moments when he had slumps. Like that's going to happen. But as long as he's not letting it affect what else happens on the court, that matters. And his mindset to the game is always, okay, I'm not making a shot, but I'm going to make the right pass. I'm going to be in the passing lane. I'm going to get a steal if we need it. I'm going to guard the best player on the other team if I need to. So those intangibles is what makes it worth it alone, right? But we want him obviously to get the 13 points a game. I get that. That's his average for the year. You want him to get the 13 to 15 points. I totally get that. If I'm Ime, I'm saying to him, look, you've got to get back to that floater game. Because if he can start getting that floater, that's when they'll start to cave in. You could kick out, or they'll back off of him and he can start hitting the three. And what do you know? Now they're saying, all right, now the Celtics are going on to the Eastern Conference Finals and bring on whoever at that moment, in my opinion.
Listen, now that you've thrown your microphone at me,
I was just going to say, when Rayshawn gets excited when he throws a couple jabs at his microphone.
Yeah, right. Listen, I don't need him to put up to put up 12 points a game. I don't need that. I don't think that you really. I mean, if he's starting, yes, sure, but in the role that he was in last night, he was good defensively, but he wasn't Rondo good defensively. Right? And it wasn't Rondo assist leading. 3 of his 5 assists were to Jaylen Brown in the first quarter, and Jaylen Brown wasn't missing any shots. You could have passed the ball. He was going to make it. Doesn't matter who's covering him. He was going to make those shots. We just talked about that.
Right.
If you remove White from the equation, Boston shot 51% from the field last night. He brought your team down offensively. He wasn't a liability defense. I get it. I would just say, do you think, my question to you, Ray, if you gave Peyton Pritchard 28 minutes last night and you gave Derek White 24, so you just flip-flop them, is the outcome of that game any different?
So
knowing what you know defensively, everything that happened.
Right. So, let me make this clear. Peyton Pritchard is the defender of Derek White. So we can get that out the way.
That's fine.
We can say whatever we want. He is not the defender of Derek White. So let me put that disclaimer out there first and foremost. Now, offensively, no. Of course, if Peyton Pritchard gets hot, then it's a different ballgame. However, We saw in game 1 though, when Peyton Pritchard gets shot, he gets shot happy, and then he shoots certain shots that he has no business fucking shooting. Sorry, Bobby, but it's the truth.
It's true, man.
That off the ball three, it's like, what are you doing? Or why do you keep pulling up from 35 feet at times?
That drives me insane about him. Real quick,
yeah, that drives me insane about him. So it's like, whoa, bro, don't. Once again, when last night, when they swing once, swing twice, and then he's opening the corner at the top of the key, 70%, that's good. That's going to go in for Peyton Pritchard because he's there. His hands is ready. He's going to shoot it, make it. But when he's trying to get into his bag, and then he's waiting for the pick to come, and then he shoots it off the dribble, no, I don't want that. And he gets his mind. It's like, bro, you're not back in Eugene, Oregon, bro. You're not there. You're not there.
He can't create his own shot in the NBA yet.
You can't do that. So it just depends on the night that you're getting. But there's a reason why they started Derek White. It wasn't like, oh, he's not that Peyton Pritchard. Like Peyton Pritchard is better off the bench right now. If that was a season game, I'm sure they might have went to Pritchard, but that wasn't the case. They knew defensively they needed to do something with Jrue Holiday because he was a problem for them in game 1. And to be honest, Jrue Holiday would have abused Peyton Pritchard. He would have. And we might have been looking at this different. We might have been sitting here bitching about being down 2-0, and then Mike sitting there with a smile saying, "I told you so." So that's we avoided that last night. So for that, I'm thankful.
Yeah, man. Listen, I couldn't. So we can move on from this after this, but I couldn't agree more with that. Is like, listen, I love Peyton Pritchard, man. I do. But when I messaged into the group like, we need more Peyton and less Derek White. And for the rest of that game, we got more Peyton and less Derek White, and it was the worst possible scenario for us because it was just Derek White played good in the second half, and Peyton Pritchard was awful. So it really does depend on which Peyton Pritchard you're getting, and I couldn't agree more that he thinks he can create his own shot at this point. Yeah. He thinks he's in Eugene, Oregon sometimes, and he's not.
He thinks he's Steve Kerr.
Yeah. As good as my Jeff Green comparison, bro. That's perfect. That's the problem.
Perfect. That's the problem. And he's not there yet. Like, and it's Steve Kerr. If you want to watch a great performance off the bench, watch. This is like later in his career. Watch the video. Game 6, 2003. He gets 7 threes off the bench. It might be 6. Either way, he didn't miss against Dallas. In the Western Conference Finals. Sends them to the finals, by the way. And they win the finals. So if we get that, hey, I'm clapping. Bravo. We're the world champions. He's not there yet. Right. He's not there. So don't do it. And that's not the case. So yeah, once again, I can't believe I pulled it out of it. But anyways, that's the first thing I thought of when you said it. I'm just like that. He's not there yet. So we want him to be there, but once again, there's baby steps to get there. And hopefully you say this to her.
Rookie of the year, Peyton Pritchard, by the way.
Right. That's the real VK's ROTY.
Yeah, no, gosh, yeah, right.
He's my Ben Simmons forever. Rookie of the year, baby. Rookie of the year.
Forever my rookie, right? So, and his 8th season from Oregon, the rookie of the year. Hey, son. Are you kidding me? Oh man, no, that's great. That's funny. Well, before we go into any other tangents, obviously this weekend we're recording this on a Wednesday night, so obviously the next game is not until Saturday, and then game 4 is on Monday. So when next time we come back on air, should probably be after game 4. So Bobby, I'll start with you. But what is your predictions for after game 3 and game 4? When do we come back to Boston game 5? What are we looking at then?
Listen, I would love to come back up 3-2. I do think winning 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee is a very, very tall task.
Oh, but is it 2-3-2?
No, it's not like baseball. It's not like
2-2-1-1-1-1-1.
It's not like baseball.
Yeah. I'm still in the early 2000s. My bad.
It's right.
But yeah, no. So listen, I think 2-2 is the best case scenario. I don't think we're going to be up 3-1. Listen, I have confidence in this team, but I think taking both in Milwaukee is going to be a very tough task for this team. And I just like we said, if they went down 2-0, it would be a whole different discussion. But going to Milwaukee 1-1 and having the chance to come back tied to Boston and put them on the ropes going back to Milwaukee is best case scenario at this point. I don't think there's a world where we don't take one, because I'm going to say the same thing I said in Brooklyn. Bro, from top to bottom, we are just a better team. You know what I mean? Like the guys that we have coming in to fill those role pieces and to fill that 7, 8, 9 or 6, 7, 8, 9 are so much better than the rest of their bench. I just think we're a better team. If we play like we can, we should absolutely, at the very least, split in Milwaukee. If we don't, we're going to be coming back here next week talking about the gaps and the negatives of this team, because that's what's going to rear its ugly head. If we play our game and we play the basketball that this team is actually capable of playing and not giving up those open threes and not missing our switches and all that stuff we talk about, then there's no doubt in my mind we come back at least 2-2.
So mine's actually pretty simple. I think if you win the turnover battle and if you keep the point disparity to within 10 points between points in the paint, you come back 3-1. But if you turn the ball over less and you do not only score 24 points in the paint and they score 54, you put yourself in a position where you don't have to shoot lights out from 3. And you should win that game. I think that the series is, like I said, Celtics in 6, right? Is that what I said? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you said.
So I think it comes back 2-2. But I think that the chances are better that this comes back 3-1 Celtics than it comes back 3-1 Milwaukee, because
I love to hear that from you. I love it.
Because I do think that the third quarter of game 2 really, really concerned me because it was self-inflicted. I don't think Milwaukee did anything different. I don't think they scared me at all. If you just score 30, 35 points in the paint and you don't turn the ball over 18 times, you should win the game.
Can I have a follow-up question? So where do those paint points come from? Is my only question, because I don't listen. I love Rob Williams, man. I do. And I think he has been so vital to who we are, but he's off. He is. And it's so clear to see. So I am scared of exactly.
The other night?
Yeah. Listen, the dunk was great, but he's obviously not the same guy.
80% is better than most.
That's a fact. Listen, that's a fact. But where are those point paints coming from? Because listen, Al Horford isn't scoring his paints down low.
Yeah,
Robert Williams may not be scoring his points down low. So where are they coming from?
I feel like I can answer this question, Ray, because it's one of the only basketball questions I feel like I can answer. If you just look at the disparity over the first 2 games of this series, the Celtics have they dominated points off turnovers in game 1 and only had 8 fast break points. So you have to run. Like, you have to get out there and run. Right, if you get more points in the paint, they should be on the fast break, especially if Jason Tatum is causing 6 turnovers a game and Jalen can cause 4 more. If you force them to turn the ball over 18 times in a game, can you please, if you score 24 points off of turnovers, can 12 of them be in the paint? Because then you're cooking with gas. Go ahead, Ray. Sorry.
Yeah, that's one way. That's not the route that I was thinking of, but that's probably more astute than what I'm going to say. And it's weird that I'm going to say this because the player I'm about to bring up, obviously he's hated here now forever. But when Kyrie was here, there was a high-low they used to run with him and Al Horford. But this play I'm talking about used to work like gold. Basically, give it to Al Horford either on left or the right block. He either spin over his left or right shoulder, and it was money damn near every time. And he's been like that really his whole career. I just think now, with obviously having a bigger lineup, I think you still let him get it in the paint, and have him go towards and then either shoot or have him dump it off to Rob or whoever's cutting, and then you score. If you give the extra pass underneath and maybe give a quick pump fake, that's still the best move in basketball. People go, he got all this stuff in his bag. The best move in basketball still is a pump fake.
He bites every time.
Every time.
He does.
Either you let him come down hard and he foul, or you let him slide and you get the basket. So that to me is just a simple. But yes, Mike's point was better than mine. You run. Run. And once again,
and make your layups.
Yeah,
make your goddamn layups.
And just make the layup. So that's just how it has to go. So but I'm the only one that has to give it the predictions, and we'll close with this. So I have Celtics in 7. So I think they're coming back with a split. I think game 3, I think Milwaukee goes off on us. Honestly, I think Milwaukee wins game 3. And then we figure it out in game 4. Find a way to win game 5, so on and so forth. But we'll get to that when we get there. So we come back to Boston next week, tied at 2. Mainly because I think the series is going 7. Mainly because the NBA, I think, wants to see it go 7. And as a fan, I'd be pleased to see it go. So, I mean, it'd be extra money in my pocket, more important. Just saying. And so, so either way, it's going to be a great series. It's been a good series so far. And, there's more greatness to come. So, so for Money Mike, Marcangelo, and for the real BK Bob Kelly, I'm Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. This has been another episode of Missing the Point, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Welcome, explorers of the human experience. This is Let's Talk Soul, and I'm your host, Claudia Monticelli. We're not afraid of the great mysteries of existence here. Soul versus consciousness, we're on it. Spirituality versus science, we've got that covered too. Join us in navigating these profound topics with wisdom, curiosity, and a dash of audacity. Whether you're a spiritual veteran or just starting your journey, Let's Talk Soul is your passport to the unknown. Let's Talk Soul, diving into the depths of the human spirit. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.
Introducing the Deep Leadership Podcast. Leadership is a people business. That's the philosophy of your podcast host, John Rennie. As a former submarine officer who spent 22 years leading businesses in corporate America before starting his own manufacturing business, he knows that leadership matters. Deep Leadership is real-world, actionable leadership advice from John and his expert guests. Become a leader worth following. Subscribe today.
Electricast. Electricast.